If you like fairy tales illustrations, you will love this episode. Hi guys, in today's video we will check works of John Dixon Batten, books illustrator and printmaker born in Plymouth, England. This is a second episode of the series of illustrators of the 18th and 19th century. The works created by this artist are stunning, full of magic, and the ones which are shown in this video, free to use for any purpose. These illustrations will be perfect for crafters who love fantasy world of fairies. All the links to sources mentioned in this video will be available as free PDF download in the description down below the video. As you can see, the images are mainly black and white. You can still edit these in Photoshop or Illustrator or Inkscape or one of the Affinity programs and create new designs. So quite interesting are the monogram letters. There is no full alphabet of these, but they are all different. Each of the books has a slightly different design of the monograms. So the Celtic fairy tales has a Celtic vibe. This is the same in case of Indian and Arabic. All are looking perfect and will be a nice addition to your designs. So let's check Internet Archive and have a look for this artist. Just type in the browser archive.org. and you should end up on this site. The link is in the description below and in the PDF. If you're first time here and you would like to know more about Internet Archive and how to use various searches, then check the link which will pop up in the top right corner of this video. Alternatively, check the description below. So let's check for John Dixon Batten. And once on this page, to the left we have various filters. Please choose always available, that way we will filter out all the things that are still copyrighted. And we are down to 17 books. Make sure to check them all. There will be multiplications here, but you'll see for yourself that some copies were better scanned than others. Also, not all his books are coming up in this check. So you might want to run more checks with a combination of his name and surname. In some cases, changing the order will give you more results. Or if not more, then you'll be presented with different results. And I'm gonna open the Indian fairy tales in a new tab. And let's scroll down to the metadata. Here we have a bit misleading information, as it says that the publication date is 1967. There is a question mark, however, and it's in the square brackets. So what I've noticed on Archive, whenever the publication date is in square brackets, they are not certain when it was published, or the cataloger, the person who input the data into their system, wasn't quite sure about that. In some cases, there are further checks done by other staff, and the results will appear down below. So as I mentioned, down in the copyright evidence field, we've got evidence reported by scanner Nicole Deo. Visible notice of copyright stated date is 1910. So it is in public domain. This is your own choice, but I would go with the copyright evidence information and use this book or the illustrations from this book. Here is a trick to dig a little bit deeper on Archive. I've mentioned that not all results are shown, even if we type the full name of the author. Moreover, even when I've run the advanced search on my own just before recording this video, it did not give me all of the results. I found a workaround. So if you scroll down to the very bottom, there are 5 or 6 more books appearing. Sometimes there are 7, sometimes there are 6. It depends of the screen size. This is very helpful widget, which will not provide the whole catalog by this author, but many similar works, mainly of the same title. And it does so because it recognizes the author, even when the illustrator field was not added at the stage of cataloging. This is simply because there are hundreds of various libraries and institutions adding book records to the archive system, and not all of them are adding the same fields. I've noticed that some libraries or catalogers are skipping some of the fields, which is really weird because usually they are very accurate people. So either they don't have enough funding, or sometimes there might not be catalogers who are doing so. Nonetheless, all of that information is free, and with the widget, it's very helpful. Pretty much that's the reason why the general search is not giving these records, as it looks for certain fields. The widget, however, is cross-referencing various fields and shows similarities. Something like this we can see on e-commerce sites, like, for example, on Amazon. However, they have a much sophisticated algorithm, but it works in a similar way. So let's open this book. So as you can see, this book does not have the Illustrator in the metadata. But if we flip through a first few pages to the title page, we can easily see that there is an author and there is the same illustrator. So that way you can sometimes find better scanned copies of the same book, other editions which were illustrated by a different artist, or, like in our example, a book with colorful illustration, plus other scans of the same book. So let's get back to the first example, to the one which we opened at the very beginning. To get to the book, click toggle the full screen. And once here, we can maximize the preview of the book when we click on the 4 boxes. This feature is called a thumbnail view. So as you can see, we have maximized the amount of pages, the number of pages visible on the screen. You can even go a little bit further if you zoom out. This method works basically whenever you're trying to check the book for the images or illustrations. So as you can see here, we have plenty monogram illustrations, single letters, also many full page illustrations. Some of them, they are in cool frames. So you can use both the frame on its own and the illustration as well. This will work really well if you will be batching the frames, for example. You can create a bundle of 10 frames only as PNGs and list it on Etsy or Creative Fabrica or other places where you are selling. The download process is very simple. To download this page in the highest resolution, basically click on it and zoom in as close as you can, just by using the controls in the right bottom corner. Sometimes the pages are loading a bit longer, so you might have to wait a few seconds. And just right click and save image as. So let's just check the other book which we have previously opened, the ones with colorful illustrations. I'm just going to toggle the full screen, expand my preview by clicking the 4 boxes and then just zooming out. This is the same book with the same illustrations. The only difference is that the illustrations are in color, which is perfect if you're creating coloring book pages or various ephemera. If you're thinking of selling on platforms like Design Bundles, Creative Fabrica or Etsy, you will find the links below the video. I would suggest starting with Etsy and slowly move to other sites, as Etsy does not require a portfolio of works, and having a store on Etsy with a couple of sales, you can easily get onto other platforms as Etsy store, and the sales will work as your portfolio. That's basically what I have done. I had, I have a few Etsy stores, but when I was applying to become a seller on Creative Fabrica, Design Bundles, and other places, I've added my link to my store on Etsy at the time of filling in the application. They need to see your portfolio or the works which you will be creating, which you will be adding to their site. So they need to see some examples, and you cannot really send them JPEGs. You need to have a real estate online, basically. So you can do it on a site called Behance, which belongs to Adobe. You can open a store on Etsy, or you can open a store on Redbubble, and pretty much it works the same way. However, I think Etsy gives you a bit more credibility. If you have sales and if you have reviews, then that's a social proof for them, for this site, which if you'd be thinking about expanding. So if you're gonna go with Etsy, you can go through my link. You can open a store and get 43 listings, which is about $9 worth of free cash. As you can see, these pages do not require a lot of work. Well, I mean, if you will be working on all of them from all of these books, then it might take you a good few days. Always depends what kind of files you will be creating and how many different file types you will be creating. But if you would like to remove background and extract PNG files, then a few hours will be enough. To edit these images, I've used a combination of Photoshop and Illustrator. A bundle of 50 illustrations in different file formats is available to buy from my Gumroad store. You can use these for your junk journal designs, t-shirts, sell on Macs as prints. You cannot resell them as a whole bundle. Other than that, you can sell them whatever way you want. All of these illustrations come in 5 different file types so that they can be used in multiple ways. If you do not have subscription to Adobe Cloud, there are cheaper options. And also free options to consider. In terms of graphic editing software, I recommend using Photoshop, but you can skip the subscription and buy Adobe Photoshop Elements, which is not a full version of Photoshop, but it does a great job. Many sellers are using Adobe Elements and they are making nice income from their designs. And I believe this is about $100 and that's it. Equally good software is Affinity Photo from Serif. In many ways, it is very similar to Photoshop and not very pricey. So there's only one-time fee, similar to Adobe Elements, only one, you pay only once. And if you plan ahead, then you can get it at 50% as they run a sale 2-3 times a year. I've covered Affinity sale process in one of my videos. The link will pop up now in the top right corner. And the free solutions are GIMP and online-based Photopea, which is almost a clone of the Photoshop. So if you want to create SVG EPS files, then I would suggest getting Adobe Illustrator. There is free alternative software called Inkscape. It is a very good piece of software, obviously not as good as Illustrator, but it will do the job nicely and you can trace images in Inkscape very easy. So let's check another book illustrated by John Dixon Baton. This time let's open Celtic Fairy Tales and again toggle the full screen, click on the 4 boxes, zoom out. And we have a better view of the book. Like in the previous example, this book has beautiful illustrations and the monogram letters are of Celtic theme, which is good as you can create collections from each of these books. The whole page illustrations are nice, but even the smaller illustrations can be used, especially if you vectorize them. Then you'll be able to create large format prints. I think this illustration is cool. You can download this image in 5 different file types along with 3 links laced from my Gumroad store. But just to show you how it will look on a Mac, it speaks for itself. You can add some text if you want and make it a print design or t-shirt. By the way, all the mockup images used in this video are available from Creative Fabrica and all links are in the free PDF files. You can buy them individually or via subscription, which I believe is much better option as there are thousands more mockups on the site. Not all of them are great, but there are several mockups that I have used in my Etsy store and they are bringing sales. So for full disclosure, if you go for my links, I will make a small commission and that way you'll support this channel at no extra cost to you. There is one more thing which I haven't mentioned. If you like the work of this artist or any other artist that works are in public domain, then Archive is not the only place where you can find his works. Moreover, if you do a search of the books that are in public domain and compare with the list of the books that are available online, in many cases you will end up with a list of books that are in the public domain and not online. You can then track these books, buy printed copies, scan them or photograph them, and create illustrations that are not available anywhere else. Also, you can republish these books on a platform like Amazon KDP. Basically, that will give you an edge because no one else has it. It just requires good research, to be perfectly honest, and some cash. That's just something that you might be interested in doing. If you find any value out of this video, then like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell to stay notified whenever I upload new content. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you in episode number 3.